Okay, time to make a to-go cup cozy. So here we have our finished, measured item. I've got two kind of longish tails, and that's good. I want those long tails because I'm going to use just the darning needle to sew it together, and I'm just going to instinctively decide where I want my stitches to go. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when we learn something new, we really want to, go by the book type of thing. And where do we take the stitches up? Well, we're going to do it by instinct, okay, just by where it looks good. So I'm going to use the longest tail that I have. This way I'm not adding any more yarn onto it. And then I will, at the end, just weave in the rest of this. And I'll show you that in a sec. So we're going to see both, because of this stitch it's the same on both sides. That's fine. I'm just going to see which side I like better. They're probably both exactly the same, so it doesn't matter. We're going to take the longest tail that we have, and I know if I sew it in, I'm going to have plenty of room there. So here I'm just going to thread the needle. Just leave enough of the tail out that it's not going to just fall out of the needle. That's fine. We're just going to use one part there. So I'm going to bring this together and see where I want to sew it. So I want the seam to be as invisible as possible. Actually, I'm going to turn this around. There we go. I'm going to sew with my right hand. So I'm looking here and I see that if I sew instinctive, remember, if I start sewing, say, here and here, that will just probably be invisible if I just go back and forth. Sometimes, if you want it to be prominent, go underneath. Because by going underneath, the stitch kind of dynamic at the top will be more visible. And you can sew it where, if you're a sewer, you know how you sew the wrong sides together. You could do that as well. I like to see what I'm doing. You can make this into a little jacket. How cute would that be? A little jacket there, and put a little bow tie or whatever. Okay, so here, I want these to kind of disappear. So I'm just going to instinctively go into this first bump. So what I'm going to do is, what's most important here is the consistency. So you don't want to go like here and then here and then here and then here, that type of thing. So I'm going to keep sewing through these top bumps. So I'm going to start right there and just pull it through. Okay. And now here, I want this to kind of disappear into the back. So I'm going to go into the next top part of the bump, and I'm pulling through. And I just want to see, how does that look? Now, if I go over, I'm going to just see all these stitches, and I don't want to see the stitches so much. So I'm going to go under. So I'm going to go, let me just see if I can lift this up and show you. So I've got that nice and tight, and I'm going to do all of these, but I'm going to go under. Instead of going up here, I'm going to go under, and then I'm going to do this one here. Where do I want it to go? Okay. So I'm going to do this next one. Remember, as long as I'm consistent, it'll look fine. There. And I'm using the whole stitch, like the whole stitch. You can go in between the plies if you like. And again, I'm going to go under here and pull. And then under here and pull. There we go. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah, that's fine. See, it's actually creating a really nice seam. And it's almost invisible. I'm going to go under here, pull gentle, and under and pull. And it was there, so I go under here and pull. And it's looking good. So it's just an inside. I could have done any place, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing the same consistency, the same bumps, the same stitches. There's that one. This washes up really nice, and you'll get coffee on it, so you'll want to throw it in the wash. If you use wool, like 100% wool, and it's not deemed as superwash, if you get superwash wool, where's my wool? It's not. With superwash wool, what happens is, with wool, it's got like the little hairs that kind of, come off of the yarn. And superwash wool kind of just, it's a chemical treatment that takes that hair stuff off. So if you washed it, it won't felt as much. It might still felt a little bit, but if you do not have superwash wool and you throw something in the wash that's like a natural fiber, you'll probably get it to felt. And sometimes that's really pretty too. Okay, so I'm right at the end. It looks really good. I like that. Looks really good. So now what I'm going to do is just, again, instinct. I'm just going to finish off, and then I'm going to turn it inside out. Remember, if you do sew, and then I'm going to weave in the ends. And all weaving in the ends is remember, I'm on my wrong side. And here I can go right between the plies if I like, and just kind of go almost anywhere you want. This is the wrong side, so it doesn't matter. You're not going to see this. And I'm just securing. I do like to go in between the plies when I just weave in the ends like this. And just make a straight line, or that's how I do it. So there it is. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. Is I'm going to just thread my needle, my darning needle. These darning needles are amazing when you want to just like do little projects like this. You can do something, you can knit in the round, but you're not going to get this type of fabric if you knit in the round. So I'm just going to put a stitch in the top or the bottom of that, just so that it looks a little bit more consistent. And then what I like to do, like I said, I think knots are very charming, is I'm weaving in the ends and I'm bringing this other bit. Oh, look at this. See this? I was probably really loose there. And this isn't a stitch that dropped or anything. It's just really a loose stitch. So while I'm weaving in the ends, I can actually just go right between the plies. It's going to disappear, and it's just visually, you won't see that hole because it's going to be filled in with this stitch. It's not a whole hole, it's just a loose thing. And that will probably, in the wash, just go, you won't be able to see it at all once it's been washed. Okay, so I'm bringing both of my tails, my ends, as close as I can get together. Remember, this is the wrong side. And then I'm just going to make a regular knot. Now, I'm not pulling too tight. If I pull too tight, I might make things like too dunky and tight type things. So, okay, and I've made that knot, that charming knot. You're not wearing this, so it's not a big deal having knots. And there we go. And now right side in. So this one, but just a tiny bit smaller than the other one. Oh, I like it. Look at that. And there we go. So that was 10 cast-ons and 34 rows. and a bind off. That's pretty nice. And there you go. And that is your cup cozy. Congratulations, you made your first knit item. Or you've come back to practice some new knit items or learn something new. So the next lessons will be the at-home cup cozy and the teapot. We won't start at the very beginning because you already learned how to cast on. What we will be doing is binding off together and then sewing the projects together to get 3 nice projects. So you see, that didn't take long at all. All right, see you in the next lesson.